Bonjour tout le monde, Jeff Plante à l'appareil. Hello everybody, my name is Jeff Plante. Yeah, today we're going to do something special. On va faire quelque chose de spécial aujourd'hui. It's going to be bilingual. We're going to start a little bit in French with our friend Julie.
Wow.
Hello Julie.
Salut.
We're going to do like hello. We're going to do like 5-10 minutes in French. So if you, I know we're going to have Donna in about 10 minutes from now. So if you're English speaking, no worries. You know, we're going to do the rest of the show mostly in English and maybe translate a little bit for our unilingual Quebec friends. Bonjour Julie.
Salut, ça va bien?
Ça va très bien, toi?
Oui, fait qu'aujourd'hui, on parle de quelque chose que ça me tient vraiment à cœur.
Vas-y.
Acheter des propriétés, que ce soit, bon, là, on va parler d'hypothèques, mais tu sais, ça peut être acheter un terrain, faire des flips, tu sais, c'est des choses que moi, j'adore faire, puis c'est ce qu'on a fait. Puis, c'est des choses qui sont tellement différentes ici qu'au Québec. C'est pour ça que je voulais prendre un moment pour comme parler un peu de vite, mon expérience. Puis après ça, on va parler avec Donna, qui, elle, va nous donner l'expérience sur le terrain. Mais bon, moi, c'est mon expérience au Texas. Elle est en Floride. Puis, ce que je voulais parler de quand on parle d'acheter une propriété, moi, je dis souvent aux gens, faites pas comme tous les autres. Donc, essayez de trouver une alternative. Faites pas ce que tous les autres font pour trouver une maison. Donc, on va tout le temps sur les sites. Puis, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Ben, on essaie de trouver la maison qui correspond à ce qu'on veut sur des sites de maison. Puis, tout le monde fait ça. Fait que souvent, la personne, le vendeur, il va recevoir plein d'offres. Puis finalement, ben, ça finit jamais par marcher. Sauf que si tu trouves une autre alternative, ben là, tu vas peut-être gagner des points. Puis moi, j'ai au moins deux exemples ici de fois que des choses qui arrivent à un moment donné. Moi, je regarde toujours les listings là, dans mon coin. Puis à un moment donné, il y avait comme quelque chose ça apparaissait, c'est trop pas cher pour être vrai, tu sais. Fait que j'ai tout de suite appelé mon agente, puis c'était un terrain. Puis c'était vraiment pas loin de chez moi. Puis mon agente dit, elle a téléphoné, puis elle a dit, oh non, il y a déjà une personne qui l'achète, puis il y a déjà 3 personnes qui attendent. Mais moi, 3 jours plus tard, moi, je voyais, tu sais, généralement, ça passe de for sale, pending, sold. Ben moi, c'était pas écrit pending, fait que j'ai rappelé mon agente, puis j'ai dit, là, tu peux-tu appeler? Parce que ça me semble d'habitude, là, c'est écrit pending assez rapidement. Puis, elle a appelé, puis elle a dit que les acheteurs avaient jamais été capables de prouver qu'il y avait l'argent.
Okay, so that's really important if we can translate just a little bit what Julie just said, because it's important, especially in the US. It's important to have cash and to show that you have cash, because you can have other offer on the same house, on the same land. But if you but sometimes they come, they make an offer, but they don't have the cash with them. And if you come and you make a cash offer, you're on top of the list, right?
Yeah, I was explaining a little bit about how I was able to get a land just because I was quick. The land was supposed to be sold. I was able to get to, talk to the realtor again and say, oh, well, they were not able to show proof of that they had the cash. And they had 3 other buyers that were waiting, but because I told my realtor we're going to buy this in like an hour. And she sent me, I remember I was at the rodeo with my dad. She was sending me all the paperwork. And in an hour, we were able to prove everything and sign the paperwork, and we were buying the land. But it was something that was supposed to be already sold with 3 other, people waiting. And we got it. So that was one of the thing. And now in French, l'autre exemple, c'est quand on a acheté la maison ici, c'est une maison qui était nulle part. Était pas sur aucun site de maison habituel où on va, à part une place. Puis c'était vraiment bizarre. C'est la seule place que c'était. C'était un drôle de listing. J'ai appelé mon agente, elle a téléphoné. Le listing, c'était une erreur. Il n'était pas encore prêt à vendre parce qu'il fallait qu'il sépare un terrain de l'autre. Finalement, on a appelé. On a dit, ben nous, on achète le lot au complet, on peut-tu l'acheter? Et on s'est rendu compte en visitant la maison qu'il y a eu une erreur dans le nombre de pieds carrés de la maison. Et quand j'ai vu ça, j'ai dit, OK, c'est sûr, on l'achète tout de suite. Puis c'est la même chose qui est arrivée. C'était super rapide. On a acheté la maison. Puis dans le fond, on a acheté une maison avec près de 900 pieds carrés de plus. Donc, on a payé vraiment plus petit montant.
Pas cher en proportion.
Ouais. Mais le listing était nulle part. Il n'existait pas encore dans le fond. On a juste été chanceux. Puis c'est vraiment juste, on a fait tout ce qu'on pouvait pour acheter la maison parce qu'on savait que si elle arrivait sur le marché, ben on la perdait.
OK. Peux-tu le dire en anglais aussi?
Yes.
Parce que ça va aider à amener Donna, parce qu'on pourra y poser justement des questions là-dessus.
So I was explaining.
Excuse me, while you're there, if you're on the group, just hold on. Yeah, go directly on the Objectif Immigré aux USA. Go to this page if you want to participate in English. Okay, no problem, and we'll answer your questions. Just write us a message, but from that page, because I know you can listen to the video on different places and different group or pages on Facebook, but the way it works, come to that page so you'll be able to participate. Okay, so don't hesitate and tell us where you're listening from. We want to know.
So what I was explaining is that when we bought this house here, the listing was nowhere to be found. It was not on any of the website that we usually go to buy a house, and except one. And it was a mistake. The realtor thought it was not published yet, but it was, and I saw it, and I called. Well, I did not. My realtor called, and they were waiting for they were trying to get the house with the land next to it separated. And finally, we were able to buy the whole lot. And I realized there were a mistake on the amount of square footage that the house had.
So like 900
square feet.
That's a lot.
So we got, and so we got that house for it was a big deal. And we got it, and it was nowhere to be found. And we were the only, we didn't want the house to go on the market because we knew we were going to have a lot of competition, but we were able to buy it on the spot. And so if we do things differently, you always have better chances.
So do you have other stuff to tell us before we bring Donna?
No, you can bring her.
Donna, how you doing?
Oh, we can't hear you now. We could earlier.
Okay. I fixed it. I think I fixed it.
Okay.
Yes.
You're there. Yeah. So I don't know if you were able to hear what Julie had to say about her land, but the reason why I chose you because I saw you on social network, and I see that you're creative. And being creative for a realtor and for a loan expert, it's good because you need that. You need a lot of that when you're in the real estate business. And there's always way to buy a house, and to be especially for Canadians, because when we come to the US, we have no credit. We have to start from scratch. So what can you do to our Canadian friends that are now listening to help them buy their dream house in Florida? Well, dream house, at least.
Well, it's not just necessarily Florida that I operate in as far as this loan program is concerned. So it could be throughout the United States if that's what they're looking for. It is an exceptional program. Now, I am a licensed real estate agent in Florida, so I can help you in that as well. But if you're looking for a mortgage, now may not be the person that does your mortgage for you, but that program inside my corporation is available throughout the country. So it is available to anybody as long as they meet some criteria. There's different types of programs that are available. The easiest one, and I think the best one, in my opinion, especially if you're looking to come to the United States and you really don't want the hassle, the headache of having to prove who you are and how much money you have and, name it, you have to give it away. Your firstborn child, sometimes people ask for. But the easiest way is to say, I'm going to come in and I'm going to find a piece of property that I really like. It's going to be investment. Now, if we're talking about primary residences, we'll have to look a little bit differently, but this one is basically whatever your principal, interest, and taxes and insurance would be, as long as whatever rent would be covers that amount of money, you are automatically qualified.
Really?
Now, yes, there is no U.S. credit score required. You do have to have a U.S. bank account, but it does not have to be seasoned, meaning if you find a property you like, you write a contract, the appraisal comes in and shows that the rent's going to cover the mortgage amount. You can move the funds required for closing within a few days prior to closing. It doesn't have to be seasoned.
Wow. Okay.
It is very, very nice. You can buy down the rate if you choose. Go ahead, Jeff. What question do you have?
No, but it has to be a rental. You have to rent it.
There is something called a limited doc program that can be, what I'm finding a lot is people are coming down and they're buying, and there is quite a few of them. They'll be like, there's a property here in Cocoa Beach. One's got a main house, one's got a property on it that can be rented. So a lot of people are finding stuff like that. And so, or it'll be an investment because they're not going to live here full time. So they'll come down, they'll spend a majority of the year down here, but they'll rent it some period of the year, such as like when the snowbirds come down or during a summer month. And that'll be considered an investment as well.
So that's mainly for snowbird, I guess, because they will rent the house when they're not there.
Correct. I mean, I would assume if you're coming down as a Canadian, you most likely will be coming down during the winter. Am I correct on that?
Mostly,
yes.
And if that's the case, you'll be down here from September to probably March, maybe April. And then you've got the summer months, and the summer months are people expect that Florida has, snowbird season, and then the rest of it's not. But where I live, it's year-round tourist. There's no,
and they come from the rest of the U.S. to Florida. It's maybe not Canadian as much as in the winter months. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So any time of year is a fantastic time of year as long as it's rented to some period of time during the year. It's considered investment. You can convert it over to your primary residency once you've been here and you've already gotten your loan, and we can refinance it. But the nice thing is there's no credit required. There's no specific visa that you have to have, things like that.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question. So I'm trying to understand this. Okay, so if the appraisal is coming back and the appraisal, like it's the same as the rent.
Yes, correct.
Does it happen? Because I feel like it.
Okay, so
feel the value
of. Example.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to give you an example. So I just sold one, and the mortgage payment on that was $2,700 a month. Okay, and the rental value on that property, because Airbnbs are massive here.
Yes.
And doesn't have to be through Airbnb, doesn't have to be through VRBO. It literally can be privately done, and it could be through a completely, private company that you choose. It came in at $3,500. So the rent ratio versus mortgage PITI was, 1.5,
positive.
Higher. Yeah, it was a very positive rent flow. So, I mean, you're 100% qualified as long as the rent meets the mortgage.
Plus, listen, contrary to the rest of the U.S., I find that in Florida, the price ratio between the price you buy a house and the price of the rent is really proportionate.
Yeah.
The rents are really high, but you can still buy houses at $250, $300, and you can charge $3,000 a month.
Yeah, it's the same thing in Texas. Yeah,
in Texas, sure. That's because of our states. What I find is that the prices are going up in Florida, and that's because the supply is a lot less than the demand right now. There are some really major bonuses in Florida. I'm sure the same, Julie, as Texas.
Yes.
We have no we have real estate tax, but we have no personal income tax. We have no personal property tax. There's no grocery tax. There's 95% sunshine year round. Today's high was 69 degrees, but pure sun. And and you walk around and everybody is on a happy pill. So you cannot beat living here. It is a blessing. And what I say to people when they're relocating and we welcome you with open arms is this: if you are moving to a place that is, people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to visit, you have known you've done the right thing.
Yeah.
You know,
And listen, for the people that are not aware, where you are, you're in Central Florida, but on the East Coast. So starting from on the same line than Disney World.
I'm actually
going down
right across the state from Disney World. I am
Cocoa
about
Beach?
35 minutes from that. Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, and going down Palm Bay, Melbourne,
very much so.
Vero, and
Vero, yeah.
Plus, you will go down to like what, Port St. Lucie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the way. I have sold property all the way up to Jacksonville, and I'm happy to do so. I have several clients from Canada that are looking almost on the Tampa side, almost like a Longwood outside of Orlando, and we are going over there and looking as well. So I'm happy to travel to find you the right properties. I'll also do showings via FaceTime, Zoom, or whatever works best for you. If you find something online that you like that you just can't get your boots on the ground here.
Most of the French Canadian, they've been historically going to really deep south, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, places like that, Dania, but you see the younger family, they go a little bit more north because there's good business to do in your area. There's listen, you have SpaceX, Bombardier, the Sea-Doo. It's all there. It's in Melbourne.
We have Blue Origin, we have Harris, we have Boeing, we have SpaceX, we have Kennedy Space Center, we have Space Force, we have Patrick Air Force Base. There are so many large corporations that are actually moving from the northern states down here. In fact, the condominium complex I was telling you about a little bit, Julie and Jeff, ago, Elon Musk stays there. So that's pretty cool. I mean, a friend of mine who's military actually is his private security when he's here. And, it's just an amazing place to live. I cannot stress it enough. And we are not Brevard County, West Palm Beach, anything around that area. Broward County, Dade County, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Not saying that they're not having massive growth, because they are. Their price ranges are much higher than where we are in Brevard.
High. And it's really dense.
It's very, very dense. And we still have some country property if you want to get away from it all. We have some really great prices. There's amazing beachfront property. I mean, amazing beachfront property from Melbourne Beach South. Like you're living on the ocean in these beautiful houses. You just can't beat it.
No, you're right. I have a question here that's pretty much what people are asking us. He says, if the building is for rent, like short term, like for Airbnb, Desjardins is asking 50% down. But 30. On your program, it's you told me that it's less than that, because I have another one. What is the percentage of down cash money that you have to?
If you're doing the rent versus mortgage ratio program, where you only require 1 month's bank statements, and it can be gift money. Okay, your down payment and your your escrows can all be gift. If you're doing 1 month's bank statements and you're doing the program I'm telling you about, it is 30% down.
That's
no
quite
more.
Decent.
Now, if you go over 2 million, you're talking. If you go 1.5 to 2 million, it's 35% down. If you go 2 million and above, it's 40% down.
Okay.
It's an incredible program.
And the only thing, the interest rate is a little bit different, though. You told me it's 4 point something.
Well, the mortgage industry is kind of like the stock market. It changes every day. So it's really hard for me to quote you a rate depending on when it's happening and what's going on. It tends to be running about 1% higher than the average market.
But
you can
freeze it.
And
but you can freeze it for 30 years.
Yes, it is 100% 30-year fixed rate. It will not change on you. So if, in fact, you guys buy at 4.5% and the interest rate goes to 6%, and when I got in real estate 28 years ago, the interest rate was 23%.
Yeah.
The worst time.
Well,
13% when I got successful in real estate, it was about 13%. When I bought my first house, it was 10%. So when they've been running 2.5%, 2.25%, 3.25%, 4, the young folks think that's really high, but honestly, it's very, very low for America.
and what Canadians don't know is you can always, even if you have like a good rate, you can always refinance if it gets lower.
The
And
rule
we
of
do that
thumb,
all the time.
yeah, the rule of thumb is, and everybody says this, Julie, you know that I'm going to die in that house. I'm never moving. And I'm never going to refinance. I'm going to keep that rate forever. That never
Yeah.
happens. You know that.
Yeah.
And everybody refinances for different reasons, whether it's to send your kid to school or you want to buy another piece of property. That's another great thing about refinancing is you can turn around and invest it into another property and just continue to
Yeah.
build an empire. But the rate is fixed. You don't have to worry about that. And the rule of thumb on financing is you can do it after 6 months. It's called seasoning in mortgages. So if you hold a mortgage for 6 months, you can turn around and refinance that.
Mhm.
I don't suggest it unless you're going to need the cash or the interest rate's going to lower by at least 0.5%, in my personal
Mhm.
opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody was asking, what's the name of the program?
There's really not a name to it. It just happens to be.
So they can read about it, you know.
Yeah, I'm happy to get literature out to anybody that requests it, and we can do it by tomorrow or later this evening.
Actually, on the chat, I gave the address of Donna. If you want to contact her through Facebook, that's, I guess, the best way. Plus, you have your it's donna.com.
It is
Or
donna.com. It is. It's
go
easy to remember.
there, and yeah, you'll be able to get in touch with Donna. I'll copy it in the chat so you don't miss it. And yeah, so that's a really an interesting program.
One point I would like to bring up, because I did have a Canadian, I don't know with our listeners if they've experienced this as well, is RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, has a cross-border program. Now, I'm not extremely familiar with it, but I have read about it. So my understanding of that is that you're limited to the amount of properties you can own. I know that it's 20% down to do that with them. Okay. We are 30% down. So yes, I understand it's higher. Now it can go as low as 25% depending on which program we're putting you through. But you can also buy your rate down a tad bit with that 30% down. So you don't have to sell anything. You're not limited to how many properties you own in Canada or the US. And, we're very competitive on the rate when it comes to what RBC is offering. So I would keep that in mind as you're shopping for loans, to buy a property here.
So are we just talking about investment if they want to buy a house as their primary residence? Is this something else?
The cool thing about American loans is we're never going to come babysit you.
Just François just told us there's a cross-country program. It's not exactly that. I know
Cross-border, I mean.
Cross-border, yeah. It's not exactly that because the RBC in the US is not the same. It's a different company, but they communicate together. Same thing with TD and same thing with Desjardins. In the US, it's a bank. And in Quebec, it's a credit union. So it's a bit different, but they can. With these guys, if you have a good to a decent to good credit in Canada, then you can still move and use this credit in the US. But if you're going with different bank, it can be complicated. You have to start from scratch, and that's why I'm having you. Are there any? And I think that was Julie's question. Are there any other ways if you want to own your own place and live there?
I actually do have access to some of those, Julie. I did not touch up on them really heavily before this meeting, but I will be happy to do so. And we can touch base on that.
Okay.
There are some programs.
There's ways. There's ways.
I wanted to ask you something, because when you buy a house in Quebec and when you buy a house here, it's two different worlds, and people don't know that. But one thing that really is different is the duration of when you're buying, say, in Quebec, and I do remember it was like that. You're buying a house, and you can say, like, let's say it's in March, and you can say, oh, I'm going to move in like in July. But in here, you're selling your home, you're getting out. Like you have to move out like in like usually it's like 30 to
Now.
45 days. Yes, right?
Mhm.
But in Canada, well, in Quebec, they have like it's kind of like they have an arrangement. They can move like in like
9 months
3 months, 4
after. Yeah.
months, 9. Yes, it's we see that all the
They have that
time.
here. They have that here.
But
It's called
I've
a
never
post-occupancy
seen like
agreement.
I see a lot of people moving in and out with my type of business, and it's really it's quick. They
It is.
sell it, they're out.
But there's
They-
not
You
a
also have adjustable. I'm sorry, Jeff.
no, but there's not like in Quebec. You have a moving season. Every rent starts on July the 1st
Yeah,
in
that's
Quebec,
true.
and not in the US. It's
Totally different.
anytime because
Yeah.
plus you have near the college is different, and the inner cities and it's different, and in the country it could be different.
Julie's, I'm sure, very aware. U.S. mortgages, one are 30-year. Now, you can select a million different types of programs. You can do interest only. You can do adjustable. You can do balloon payments. You can do, I mean, 1,000 different types of mortgages. There really is just, I mean, sky's the limit on whatever you want to do. The traditional mortgage here in the U.S. is what they call a 30-year fix. And so let's say you get 4.5% or 3 or whatever it may be at the time that you do it. That is for 30 years, the exact same interest rate. You are not going to wake up 10 years into this mortgage and they go, hello, we're changing your mortgage payment.
23%. Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. You're going to have the same interest rate for that 30 years. And I know for a fact, based on talking to the Canadians I've spoken to, that they were quite surprised by that. I don't know if you have balloon payments there or you have adjustables in a 3 to 5 year range, but that was a big one. But as far as moving is concerned, in the real estate industry, there's something called a post-occupancy and a pre-occupancy. Now,
Okay.
pre-occupancy is when you come to Florida, you need to move someplace, house is sitting vacant, and we negotiated a pre-rent for you to move in before you go to settlement. Happens.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's something called a post occupancy, and sometimes you need to do that in order to win a contract here. And that is to say, I don't need to move until July, but I'm coming here in February and I'm going to buy a house, but the seller's not willing to move yet. And we offer him post occupancy to stay after settlement until the time you move here. So
Kind of a rent.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's a rent, but
That's what we do in Quebec. Yeah.
What I'm finding in the real estate industry here right now is that it's a highly competitive, low inventory market. And so buyers are coming in saying, hey, Mr. Seller, I really don't need to move there till July. So I'm going to let you stay here rent free until July. And they're winning contracts.
I'm pretty
Because
sure
people
they
are
do.
like,
Yeah.
heck yeah, I don't have to pay a mortgage. I get to sell my house when I want to sell my house. I'm going to live here rent free. And they're not even having to escalate sales prices for over $50,000 to $100,000. I mean, I've been in real
I told
estate
you she was
28 years.
creative. I told you.
Yeah, there's a million. I've been in real estate 28 years. If you've thought it, I've done it. You know, so we can do it. And the team I work with is incredible. I teach contract law all day long.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really creative way, and because you're as a buyer, it's as Julie told us in French on the very beginning, it's a competitive market if you're buying now. There's not a lot of houses. Yeah,
you better be creative. I mean, do not fill in the blanks in a contract. You are not going to get it.
But you don't have to. You don't always have to bid higher. Sometimes it's like I don't know. Here we have like that inspection time where I don't remember how do you call that? What's
a home inspection contingency period? You know, you have a contingency. Yeah.
So when we bought here, we said no, we don't need the inspection. So we skipped that. And there's so many things you can do. One time we actually wrote a personal letter to that lady. We were like a family wanted to move there, and there was like a business that wanted to destroy the place.
That's a big one right now.
They were bidding higher, but because we were able to, tell them that we were going to keep that house, but we won. So I mean, it works.
I agree. Corporate America is really buying up a lot of properties. We find that, especially here in Vacation Central. The one thing I would caution anybody on writing a letter, though, would be fair housing laws in the United States of America. Because if you say the word family, then it becomes familial status. and the realtor or you could be in trouble. So you have to word it properly to make sure that everybody stays compliant. But I would agree that many people are looking to sell their loved houses that they've raised their children in, or they've had their grandparents live in, or their kid's best friend rode their bike in it. You kissed your husband in it. Like all the things that happen in a house. They want to make sure that that house stays in that kind of loving relationship, opposed to it becoming corporate America. And we are finding that a lot. But as far as contingencies are concerned too, let's say you don't want to waive a home inspection. Some people don't, and I understand that, and you have the right to it here. But you want to contact your team, and my team would be people I'm very in close contact with, and say, hey, Mark, I got a guy that wants to buy this house. How fast can you do a home inspection for me? Because I'm going to write it as a contingency. And they'll be like, I'll be there tomorrow morning. So you write a 1-day home inspection contingency, just put eyeballs on the house. And then people are like, wait, like, I'm going to go out to dinner tomorrow and the contingency period is going to be over. I mean, they don't typically care about that.
Yeah.
So the way to win is actually to show them that you want to settle fast, rapidly. And the more rapidly, it's less of a hassle for them. It's less of a problem. Listen, if you want, we're going to settle this tomorrow. Everything will be done. And
I guess you have to know what the other party wants and try to
it could be 6 months from now. You don't know.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's a bonus about this program I'm describing to you is it's considered a conventional mortgage here in the United States of America. And when you're writing a contract, a lot of people are kind of waving away from a cash buyer, and they're looking for a conventional buyer that's got a decent amount down. So you're looking at a 30% down, you're looking at a conventional buyer. And then the only other thing that would snag you would be how long it's going to take to get the contingency cleared. And if we're working together early, it'll be very short. And then also how long your inspection periods are. So, and again, we can be extremely creative on that. So you can win. I mean, you don't really necessarily have to go above sales price, but it is happening a lot.
Yeah.
What's a regular buyer? What do you call a regular buyer?
A non-FHA, non-VA buyer. And it's sad because FHA and VA buyers are.
You have to tell us Canadian what it is, because we're not
FHA, VA, I don't know how they work it in Canada, but veteran VA loan is somebody who served in the military.
Oh, okay.
And so the military gives us some backing on their loan products. And so basically they come in, they don't have to put any money down, and they can buy a house. And
like a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Okay. And FHA is backed by Fannie and Freddie. And so that's lesser down. It's 3.5% down instead of 5, 10, 15, 20 and above down. And they all deserve to buy homes too. And it's basically income limited. But it's so hard to get that now.
Wow.
But since you're not American, you'd rather come with a little bit of cash. And if you come with 25-30%, you have a decent chance to,
Well, they aren't going to offer an FHA or a VA to a Canadian buyer unless you have some kind of the citizenship and credit here, or you have a job. If you're relocating and you have a job and you have an offer letter and you have some credit in the United States, you will qualify just as if you're a U.S. citizen with a little bit more paperwork. But if you're just coming to move here and you don't have any credit and you just got a great bank account, heck yeah, come on, let's see what we can do for you.
That's interesting. So it means to the people that listen to us, if you're not ready yet to move, then at least buy a property.
Yeah, you can.
I highly recommend it.
Buy a property. You'll have it for a few months, and you'll be able to be a snowbird.
Okay, so this is a totally different price range, but last year I was selling condos on Indian River, beautiful waterfront condos, 2,474 square feet, good size, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, good size, amazing views, 360, and they're almost 500,000 now.
Yeah.
So I was selling $120,000 condos that are gated communities that were on the Indian River. Of course, some of them had views, some of them didn't. They're $200,000 now. So the prices are changing. And if you're planning on ever retiring here, or you just want to invest and you have the cash now, I suggest highly do it now.
Yeah.
So guys, if you have questions for Donna, it's time. As I told you, we're mostly interested because a lot of people that follow us are in the process of moving to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So just want to see the option. But tell me a little bit about your region, about Central Florida, Space Coast. You told us, of course, there's more than decent jobs there, more than ever actually, and it's a really nice neighborhood there.
It is. It is absolutely beautiful weather. That is one big bonus. If anybody's ever been to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, there is a big port where cruise ships come in and out. Now, Port Canaveral, which is about 10 minutes from where I live, I'm in the middle. Anyway, Port Canaveral, close to where I live, is going to be one of the largest cruise ships in the entire East Coast. So, cruise ship ports. They're actually redoing it very shortly. We're building an aquarium right inside Port Canaveral, which is going to be just epic. SpaceX is launching, missiles and not necessarily
Every week.
missiles, but almost every week. We had a little bit of a lull there for a little bit. What's really neat is when they come back and land, and you can literally, your car alarms go off because when the boosters land, it's pretty neat. You can watch all these beautiful fishing boats go in and out. There's Victory Cruise, casino cruises. You can go out 4 miles out and play casino. I can tell you, I know that so many people are frustrated with the lockdowns and just kind of being stuck in your house. And, I know that news kind of sometimes says stuff, but Florida is amazing. And we go out and enjoy each other, and we hug each other, and
it's been a while.
We sit in sunshine, and our kids go to school, and it is. All I tell you, and if you go to my website, I said that, and I wrote it before COVID ever existed. I said, I believe I live in paradise, and I do believe that highly, and I'll swear by it. It's just a beautiful place to live. Brevard County is. If you think, I live in something called Merritt Island, Florida, and I'm going to tell you, nobody knows what it is, but I literally live on an island. So research that, because it's a really cool place to put your feet on. And nobody knows about it. Brevard County is kind of out of the limelight. I hear so many Canadians saying, well, I want to move to Tampa. I want to go to Sarasota. I want to go to Fort Lauderdale. I want to go to
Disney
Miami.
World. It's an hour away. Yeah.
I'm not. It's not even an hour away.
No.
I mean, Orlando, if you're going to fly back and forth to Canada to see your family, I am 35 minutes on a bad day from Orlando International Airport.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
So I can't brag about it enough, just because I think it's so hidden that people do not know about it.
And what else is there to do, especially in this area for us Canadian, that we're really not used to? I used to go to the dog races, but now it's over.
We used to have that here, Highlight. I don't think Highlight exists in here anymore.
No, it's over.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's over. We have Gator World if you want to go.
Yeah.
See gators. We have a whole bunch of cruises that go out, day cruises that are a whole lot, because we're right on the ocean. A lot of people go to the ocean. We have a park here called Peacock Beach is what it's called. And you can literally drive through this neighborhood, and I have never seen more peacocks in my life. That's kind of cool. They just kind of run around, their tails all fluff up. Then, of course, you've got every portion of Orlando you ever want to get to within 35-40 minutes of it, and there's pockets of that are now. Melbourne, which is south of where I'm at, is an art district, and it's Old Town Melbourne, and you could walk around that and see art. It would just blow your mind. Very, very artistic, beautiful, old type of buildings and historical stuff that goes
Spanish,
on. Yeah, really, really beautiful stuff.
And it's really family oriented. I remember that there was a kite festival in Melbourne Beach.
We have
beautiful.
We have surfing Santas on Christmas Eve.
Okay,
we have Santas that come out of the sky on parachutes on Christmas morning. We have something that goes on. We have Christmas boat parades that go up and down the waterways all the time. 4th of July probably lasts 3 weeks here. There's fireworks every weekend. Each town has their own fireworks show. And so there's something you couldn't touch. If you lived the next 50 years, you wouldn't touch every restaurant in this county.
Oh, I remember. What's the street on O'Galley? La Band.
Oh, Galley.
Oh yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember when it's like an old boat with another fisherman, but the pirate, like a big pirate ship.
That's
what's the
still
name of
here.
the place? Yeah.
I-
And
Yeah,
no,
do,
it's
do you
beautiful.
remember at the end of O'Galley, Jeff, there used to be a dragon? Do you remember that?
I think
There was
so.
a
Yeah.
little island at the tip of Merritt Island, and there was this gigantic dragon that you could walk in. I was fortunate enough as a teenager that the kid that lived there let me come in and tour it. So then we had a tropical storm that kind of did some damage to the dragon because it was so old, but they're rebuilding it, and it's going to be impressive.
Yeah. Lots of golf.
Lots
It's
of
a
golf.
great place for golfing. Remember south near where you have PGA Village, Port St. Lucie.
Oh yeah.
There's great. I had the chance to golf there, PGA Village. Wow. Oh, great golf course. But even there's one. What's it called? Spessard Holland near.
Spencer Holland. Yeah.
You know, the one
There's
I mean.
Sebastian Inlet. That's
Yeah.
a really beautiful place to go.
Great place for
water-
fishing at the inlet, eh?
It is an amazing place for fishing. Even north of me, there's a place north of where SpaceX launches. And forgive me for not knowing the name of it. I just never kind of researched that. But there's a park. It's on the ocean. The fishing is amazing. I mean, just amazing.
What kind of fish you get there? I
Well, my
remember
husband's a
marlin.
fisherman. That's the one you wanted to ask. I just kind of watched. They're big ones. That's all I can tell you. I don't know. They're nasty and they're big.
Yeah, they're big. They're big. Yeah.
But I eat them.
And-
They're good. So.
I have Otto here. He's asking in French. What's the best place in your area to establish with your family, with young kids? I think it's a great place for families. More than near Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I wouldn't
Yeah,
go
I
Miami
agree.
with a
I
family.
agree.
I wouldn't go there.
I agree. So write this zip code down because this is my personal opinion, and the schools are A+ rated, and it's 32940. It is considered Melbourne as a postal address, but it's also called Viera, and that is spelled Viera. Okay, that is all new construction within the last 5 years. It has an iceplex, it's got a sportsplex, it's got movie theaters, it's got shopping. All the kids own 6-seater golf carts. The schools are A+ school rated. There's ponds and lakes. It's across the causeway from the beach. You know, you're 20 minutes from the beach, and you can. It's just stunningly beautiful. So when you're raising kids, in my personal opinion, that's where I would go.
Yeah.
That's where I'd go.
Affordable?
Very affordable. It runs anywhere from the 300 range, and they've got new construction that's just getting ready to start. There's a new Costco. I don't know if you have that in Canada.
Yeah.
But they just built one, and the entire outskirts of Costco is nothing but vacant land with the roads put in. So new construction is getting ready to take off. The food there is to die for. But that's where I would look. You can buy real estate in Viera literally up to probably $3 or $4 million, and the neighborhoods are mostly gated. The schools are fantastic. The construction's beautiful. It's like living on vacation 24 hours a day.
And what
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's personal though. I want to know how long is it takes to go to well, that would be Embry-Riddle, because that's where my daughter wants to go to school.
In Daytona.
Yes.
45 minutes, 50 minutes.
Okay.
Quick. And
Not bad.
95, if you're not driving 85, 90 miles an hour on 95, I don't care what the speed limit says, you're not going fast enough. So going to 528 to Orlando International Airport to 70, 75 miles an hour. I don't even know because I don't even watch it. But if you're not going 80, 90 miles an hour, you are not going fast enough. I can tell you. So same with 95, zero traffic, flying up and down it. You're just moving.
Okay.
Yeah, because 95 is moving in your area. When you go to Miami, that it slows down.
You'll never move it.
Around Melbourne.
Yeah. Flying.
Yeah.
I love it. Northern Virginia, same thing. If you're on 95 going on the outskirts of DC, you better bet your bottom dollar you're sitting in it for 3 or 4 hours. You know, but here in Florida, it's like a joke. You can't even imagine that another state is so bombarded with traffic. But once you get to Fort Lauderdale, or actually West Palm Beach, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Once you get to West Palm Beach,
Yeah.
it's high traffic, and my heart beats a little too fast.
No, you're right. So from Daytona, like Melbourne, Daytona, about less than an hour.
Less than an
Yeah,
hour.
she said
Less than an hour for
15.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I went to UCF, University of Central Florida, amazing college too, and they have satellite campuses here in Brevard, so you can literally take the majority of your classes here at UCF, University of Central Florida, amazing college, and then go into this, center of the state when you need to take specific classes. But you can get a university education without ever leaving, probably 30 minutes of your house.
So you do some of the credit near your place, and then when you specialize, you go to Embry-Riddle.
UCF is an amazing college
at
too.
Embry-Riddle is
Yeah, well, yeah.
no, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Very nice.
But as we told the people, when you live in Florida, you have a better price.
Yes.
For tuition.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So
you might need to buy one of those houses, Julie, and just say, I'm kind of living there.
I know. That's why I'm like asking questions. And then I'm going to talk to my husband. And I'm like, yeah, I think I have a plan.
Yeah. Make your tenants get mail at a post office box and you get your mail at the house. That's how that works.
Ooh, that's cool.
Where is the place to work in engineering? Oh, wow. Yeah. Essaye de reformuler ça. It's yeah. Dis-le en français, Pascal. I'll ask her to write it in French because it's cryptic. So I think it's regarding because there's a lot of engineering job in your area. A lot.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
Yeah. So you'd have to look Indeed and look for jobs around Space Coast, Brevard County,
Boeing, Harris. Big ones.
SpaceX,
Blue Origin, big engineering.
BPR.
There's a lot of contractor engineering jobs that are on the Air Force Base.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And that's a cool job for a Canadian. And then it's you can have a TN for that, the TN visa. So it's super easy.
I went shopping on the Space Force Base at Christmas. Oh, the amazing shopping. Amazing. My son's prior military. So we were able to get on and we went in there and I was blown away by how nice the malls were.
Wow.
Especially for soldiers and soldier family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much. That whole base runs.
It's kind of like a sibling city because, here it's the NASA is right here in Houston. And everything that's like Space City, it's supposed to be here, but it's a lot in your area. Mm-hmm. So we have kind of like the same engineering, in Houston.
Very
so funny,
Jim.
Because Cocoa used to be like in the 60s, of course, it was the center of the world. Mm-hmm. But it tend to go a little bit down because they stopped the space program, and then came SpaceX, and it just reboosted the area. Because when you go to Florida, especially on South, there's something you notice, like contrary to in Quebec, houses are really, they're not old. They're not old. Like if you buy something 30 years old, that's old.
I don't know. The island can tend to have some properties that probably mid-range the 60s. There's a lot of new construction on it. So, but you do get some 60s. Rockledge, which is right on the other side of the island, there's a 1945 historical home that's on the market. It looks like a chalet. It's amazing on the river. Melbourne has a lot of history in it too. Melbourne Vieira, that new construction right off 95, which is a really quick hike if you're traveling up and down the seaboard on 95. That has the majority, almost everything there is brand new. It is stunning. It's
everything near the 95 and west of 95 is brand new.
Yeah, it is. I very much agree. So it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
Prices are good. Get it before it goes up. Because it was $260 2 years ago. You can't touch it.
Yeah. That's very expensive.
Plus, and we have the conversation with a lot of our clients and people that are planning to move to Florida that owns a place in Quebec. The prices are rising in Quebec. So you're gonna sell your house. You're gonna make a decent profit. So if you would buy in Canada, it's because it's the price difference is it's steep. And Florida, you can still buy a decent place at 300.
Yeah. No, she's like, no.
I went and looked at new construction today at 360, 395. So you can do it. There's a place called Port St. John, which is a tad bit north of me, that's got the 300s. Palm Bay, which is south of me, has 300s. I don't want people to think that it's going to be that simple. It's going to take some homework to find those properties. I would say the median sales price right now is about $425 to $450 and up. Okay. I think that's a really fair, just to be very clear, that the market is adjusting.
But then again, if you're a snowbird, you have time. Maybe it could be interesting to shop around. If you buy if you buy a property for revenue, then do it. Be there for a few months and then shop around because it's easy to sell.
I just sold a condo to a client, and he paid $425 for his property, and he is renting it for $5,000 a month.
He's going to pay it. He's going to pay his property fast.
That one I don't know if I sent it to you, Jeff, but there's one in Cocoa Beach. It's got 2 houses on it right now. It's $1.2 million. Okay. It has a 60%. It's only been rented for 6 months as an Airbnb. So there's a primary residence and then another side residence too. The side residence hasn't been rented, but the primary has at 60% rental ratio. It's already made $41,000. Wow. That's some good money. And it's in Cocoa Beach.
Wow.
So the income potential on that property is big.
I have Pierre here, and I know this guy went to Embry-Riddle, actually, university. And he says, South Daytona properties are a good deal for parents who want to buy property to put student.
That's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do.
And 45 minutes.
Listen, the kind of tuition they have at this university expect people to have money, so they're going to rent. It's not going to be cheap, so you can. There's room to make money. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you should definitely explore it, Julie. It's a beautiful place to go. I'd be happy to show you around down here while you're here, but definitely dig into Daytona and see. We were just up there in October, and it was just stunning. Very busy, a lot busier than here, but certainly we're kind of a sleepy little pockets of busy, touristy areas, but mostly a sleepy little area, and a great place to raise your family if that's what you're looking to do, or just kind of relax, get away from the constant movement. But Daytona, I love the fact that I can get up in the morning and go 45 minutes north and be at the outlets at Daytona, or even at the racetrack. Not I watch racing, but a lot of my friends do. And so that's kind of neat. And then I am literally 4 hours from Key Largo and 6 hours from Key West. We bought a 31-foot camper, and we just spent Christmas in Key West. And I can tell you that's an amazing experience. We went snorkeling in 75-degree water, and you couldn't even believe you were doing that at Christmas time.
And the good thing also about the Space Coast, during summer, it's not too hot. It is, but it's not too hot. Just like in South Florida, it's really
hot. Yeah.
It's
so
hot.
I can equivalent it. So Virginia is where I lived, and in Virginia, it could be, I don't know, 85, 95, 100. It could be all the way up to 105. Virginia is very interesting how the weather runs, but there is no air movement in Virginia. You're in between the mountains. It is stagnant at best. So here we have a barrier island, and then we have the mainland. And where I'm located at, if you go to Disney World in July, you can best bet it's 95.
Oh, you're going to burn it.
And you shouldn't do that. I don't recommend it to anybody.
I did it.
Really like
I did it, and they have to splash you on every place you go.
Yeah, they have the little fans.
Yeah.
We are 10 degrees cooler than that.
Yeah,
and there's
because you're on the coast. Yeah.
In Orlando, because I play golf, they wouldn't allow us to walk. You have to have a cart. I think it was in August. You have to have a cart. They won't let you walk. It's too hot. You're gonna faint.
It's hot. We made the mistake we made the mistake when we first moved here to go to Orlando because my son had leave from the military, and we decided as a family we're going to go to Disney World. Now that was a rookie mistake. We'll never do it again. And they actually have a Florida discount resident tickets for Disney. I see why now, because we're smart
of course.
to not go there. But we went there, and I was literally walking around going, I think I'm going to die. And so we decided to go to Epcot, and we walked the world, if you know what I mean. In Epcot, it's all about world. And so we'd stop in Germany and have a drink, and we'd go to Mexico and we'd have a drink, and then we would. That's how you do that. If you're going to do that, you have to have a drink, or you're just going to die.
Yeah.
And Pierre is telling us that still on Embry-Riddle University, international students, because there's a lot of international students that live off the campus there, and with the parental support, some from Dubai and places like that, son of Emir, this and that. So lots of money there. And one thing, like we have to say it, there's money in Florida. And when I say there's money, it means there's business to be done there. There's a lot of business to be done there because they're compared to socialist Quebec. It's easy. No, but that's true. That's true. It's easy to do business. You don't have the state that is stopping you all the time. Just to remind you guys,
Ron DeSantis.
That's it. Ron DeSantis. So if you wonder who DeSantis is, he's the next Donald Trump. He's more or less in the same,
I'm not letting
line.
him go, but it's amazing, amazing man.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, there's no state tax, income tax, and
no personal property.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have personal property in Canada?
Personal
property tax? Okay.
Yeah.
So in Virginia, you get taxed 3 times for the same thing you bought and taxed on the first time. So you get taxed every year. It doesn't matter how many years you own it. You got taxed if you went to the grocery store. You got taxed if you bought a car. You got taxed if you got a trailer. You got taxed if you made income. You got taxed just to say, hey, I'm Donna. They just say, hey, that's 5% tax. So they got you everywhere you went. But here, there is a real estate tax, but that does also cover your recycling and trash and some other features of the town. So it tends to be a tad bit higher than some of the states that don't have any tax. But you can go to the grocery store. There is no tax on your groceries. That's very nice. You only get taxed on what you spend if you really stop and think about that. It's kind of like a voluntary tax. Like if I'm going to go out and spend a lot of money, I'm going to expect I'm going to get taxed, right? But you're not going to tax me on what feeds my family.
I have Otto who's asking, that's interesting. In Quebec, most of the cities, we have what we call a welcome tax. When you buy a property, the city is expecting you to pay a few thousand, if not tens of thousands, in a welcome tax. This thing doesn't exist in Florida.
No. Now, when you register your car here for the first time, you can buy a car here, and you might not get that. And I don't know that for a fact, so don't hold me on it. But if you bring a car here, I believe it's like $375 one-time tax that you'll pay.
Wow.
And then you pay, every year to renew your tags. And I want to say that's something like $64 a year.
A lot less than in Quebec. Plus, when you buy cars in Florida, that's probably the cheapest place in America to buy cars because there's so many cars, old cars, collection cars, and stuff like that. It's the place to buy cars in Florida.
I don't know about that one. I just bought a car. I mean,
because I have lots of friends who import cars and they buy in Florida because that's where they can buy the cheapest ones.
They're not bad price. I got a really nice car for a decent price. We're actually gonna, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of a Chrysler Conquest 1986 version, but it's like a old car, and it's still stuck in Virginia. We're gonna have that shipped down here in this next couple of weeks and have some friends work on it. But it's kind of like a dream. If you remember, like Tom Cruise back in the day, So I'm looking forward to that car being down here, and it'll be an antique.
Harleys all year round. What's better than riding a motorcycle on the A1A? Is there anything better than that in life?
As long as you wear a helmet and you don't get killed on it,
but you're able to run with no helmet. Still.
Yes, you are. I don't suggest it. I have seen a few accidents on A1A, but absolutely, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to ask you just because we were talking about taxes, and I just wanted to ask you, so here in Texas, we have, like, I live outside city limits. And I know this is the same thing in Florida. Like, you have some, like living, we call it living in the county. So you don't pay taxes to the city. Do you have that? Like, where
It'll
you
be
live?
inside your real estate tax, and it's very minuscule. It's not. I mean, when you get your tax bill, and I'm happy to show that too. Your tax bill will say like I can't even think of the word for it. It'll be something like $100,
For trash.
because Brevard, right? So like Merritt Island for us is in Brevard County. So then you got Cocoa, then you got Rockledge, then you got Port St. John, then you got Melbourne, then you got Vieira. So there'll be some kind of rubbish type of tax that kind of runs in it.
But do you have to, is that possible to live outside the city? So you're not in the city, you don't pay taxes to the city, but you pay your taxes to the county. So like, I am not, like, I'm in like middle of nowhere, I guess, but I don't live inside the city. So I don't have like a mayor. I don't, like, it's outside the city, and I have no restrictions. So I don't have any restriction from the city. I can do whatever I want. You don't have that?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh,
We don't have a
wow.
mayor in Merritt Island either. Brevard County has a mayor, but if you understand how big Brevard County is, it's a massive county. So yeah, we have one mayor, one sheriff, Sheriff Ivy. He's a pretty incredible guy. He's probably like Governor Ron DeSantis. People just think this man walks on water, and he is pretty incredible. He's super public. He's very transparent. I would vote. I'd stand in line all night long to vote for him again. So he's just an incredible sheriff. This county is very important to him. I don't find that I've ever been restricted on anything. Honestly, I just don't feel that way here. Now, Virginia.
No, it's different.
Hence why we don't live there anymore. But
stay in Florida. Yeah.
Mhm.
Francois, it brings an interesting point. He says the problem in Florida is not the taxes, but the energy cost. But then again, because of course you're not heating, you use
Cooling,
air conditioning. That could be an issue. But mind you, it's a bit like in Quebec. How much would you expect to pay per month?
How much are you paying? Let's compare apples to apples and see.
But listen, in Quebec, you'll pay in US dollars, maybe on a three bed, 2 bath. I would say $250
a month.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a 4,000 square foot house.
That's
I have exterior lighting throughout my entire 1 acre yard. Like every one of my trees is lit up. Okay. I have a pool. I have a 6-car garage. My electric bill runs $250 a month. The highest I've ever had is $295.
About the same. About the same. We have the pool, about same square footage and everything, and that's what we pay. So it's nothing.
I don't. We have FPL. You can research that any day. I don't really think. I mean, I was paying in Virginia. I want to say over $400 a month because I was cold half the year and then hot half the year, and so I never really got a break. And in the winter months here, I mean, you just don't turn anything on because you don't need to.
Yeah.
So we go months and months. I don't have anything on now, and we're kind of unusual. We have a fireplace, and my husband's been running it. And I think Jeff and I joked about that because it's like 55 degrees and we have a fire going.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because when you see people in winter dining out when it's 50, 55, you're pretty sure it's Canadians.
Well, you can distinctly tell who a Floridian is because they're wearing a fur-brimmed hat and a down jacket. I can assure you. They are not on the beach. You won't see them anywhere. I mean...
And tell us, there's something in the U.S., but you see that a lot in Florida, and we're not familiar with that a lot in Quebec, and it's the HOA, the Homeowner Association.
Oh, yeah. We don't like that.
That's important because because there's a cost for that. Can you explain us the old concept of an HOA?
Well, there's 2 different kinds. There's called an HOA, which is a homeowners association. And then there's something called a condo owners association. Okay. So a condo would be, If you're living in a condo high rise here in Florida, anywhere in the United States, they pretty much have the same thing.
Yeah.
And what they do is they cover the exterior walls of the building, everything exterior. You're only responsible for the interior contents of your property and like your sink and your washer and dryer, things like that. But should you have a leak from the upper, property, or there's a problem with the exterior walls or things like that, the association will cover it. Now, an HOA is different, and it's different with every neighborhood.
And
so it
it's
doesn't matter.
something, Donna. If you buy a condo, you have to be you have to be aware of that, because a lot of Quebecers buy condos and don't verify if they have money in the bank. And as
Yeah,
you
I
know,
will. I'll make sure you do.
there's quite a few hurricanes in Florida, and then
Not
if
really.
you need to do some repairs, then you're off.
Well, in the contract, it's a different contract down here. There's a condo contract for that.
Yeah.
And you ask for discovery on the association. So you look and see if there's any reserves or assessments that are going to be coming in the future. And there's places in that you write whether the seller is going to pay for it or you're going to pay for it. And you're aware of what you're kind of walking into. You can also look at the condition of a building and see whether or not it's not been maintained for a long period of time. And you should be concerned about that if the reserves aren't high enough. Now, I've been doing real estate 28 years. And if I was to represent anybody, I'm sure anybody else, if they're a great realtor, they're going to make sure
you would know the numbers.
You would know that for a fact. An HOA is a different beast because, and it's not really a beast. It's really, the only problem with an HOA, honestly, is that if you put your trash can out on Tuesday and didn't take it back in until Friday, you're going to have a whole bunch of people complaining at you because you've left something out for a long time. The bonus for an HOA is that, especially when you have houses that are close together, it makes sure that your property value maintains, because you're not going to have a neighbor that doesn't mow the lawn.
A dirty neighbor.
You're not going to have a neighbor that's got a goat. I have a neighbor 4 doors behind me that's got a donkey in Florida on an island. It's not going to affect my property value because it's 4 houses down, but I hear it in the morning. But if you have a 1/4 acre lot, or even up to 1/2 an acre, you could, the way it's designed, it could be close. So it does protect you in many ways. For me, it didn't work just because I have a boat and I want to keep it on a trailer, or I want to bring my RV home, or things like that.
Yeah, because there's rule you won't be able to keep the boat in the driveway.
Sometimes you can. Now, sometimes an HOA will let you put a boat behind a fence. Even though the top may come above a fence, you're still allowed to have that. And you can have an RV sometimes in your neighborhood for up to a week, but not longer. So like if you're bringing it home to clean it or prep it and get it out, things like that. But you typically have to have a homeowners association approval to put in a fence or to change the color of your house.
Yes.
But it does not calculate like a condo. A condo can reassess your fee, and it can drastically change from year to year, where HOA cannot do that. It's pretty stagnant. It stays pretty level. So I would not be concerned on that.
So it will stay
I can explain more.
It will stay at the cost of life if it goes.
No, but it's just sometimes they just have to know. But I mean, if they hire a realtor, they'll know. But sometimes I remember one time someone was trying to buy a house to kind of start a daycare. Well, you cannot do that everywhere. So you have to kind of be aware of that.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, if you're coming from out of country, you can buy for sale by owner. I don't doubt that for a second. You can also say, I'll just hire an attorney to do my paperwork. You can do that. I'm sure you could. The problem I would think that you would fall into if you're not familiar with an area is all those examples. You wouldn't know what something means. You wouldn't know, would you be allowed that variance to do that? You wouldn't know who to hire to make sure that your interest is protected. There's a million different reasons to hire somebody that's professional.
One thing that is important for us Canadians is the ability to rent your place to multiple times during the year, because there's places you can rent it 1 time, 2 times a year, but you're limited because they don't want new people moving in and out, and in their community. So it's something you have to be aware of.
Well, single family homes tend to not have that issue. Condos do. So
Condos
you
do,
see
yeah.
condos that can have an Airbnb as an overnight. You have condos that can have a 1 week rental. You have condos that are a minimum of 3 months. You have a condo that's a minimum of 1 year, and you just don't know. I mean, and until you get into those bylaws, that you just won't know. And so that's another thing a professional will be able to help you guide based on your dream of that property. If your dream of that property is to make a whole bunch of money on Airbnb and you're limited to every 3 months, your best bet's to seasonal rent that property and hire a realtor who's going to do it for you, not necessarily putting on an Airbnb. So you just don't know until you evaluate it.
Another thing that a lot of Quebecers do, they would buy a mobile home, especially in South Florida, but on a land that they don't own. And it happens lots of time. And we have I have 1 or 2 story, like recent story, and they sold the land, and there's nothing you can do because you won't be able to move your house, so you're losing it.
Well, a lot of people make their foundations in a mobile home permanent because that's the only way they can actually gain financing. So they take the wheels off of it and they put a skirt around it, or they drive big barb metal rods into the ground
they attach it
to the ground. And then when that property is sold, all of a sudden it's not that easy.
So would you recommend
people?
Would you recommend people to do it? Because sometimes you see, listen, okay, it's mobile home, but you have 2 bed, 2 baths, and at under 50
super
grand.
cheap. Yes.
Yeah, under 50 grand. But then, mind you, have to pay a monthly fee of $700.
Yeah, land rent. Yeah. There is a home for everyone. And that's the great thing about America and places that, ownership exists. So depending on what somebody's needs and desires are, yes, I think that is a valid option. However, there is also mobile homes that you can actually own the lot in. They may be $20,000 more, maybe $40,000 more, but in the long stretch of a 30-year fixed interest rate, it doesn't really matter. It's minuscule. So what I would suggest is if you're going to look at a mobile home, to look at something that does have the option to own the land too. Because I have seen so many people have that issue where they had to be gone. And especially with a hot market like today, land is more valuable than the rent that they're getting on those mobile homes. And those people want out. I mean, they want $3-4 million for the land. They don't care about your $500 a month in rent. They're just gone. So then all of a sudden you're trying to adjust and where are you going to go and how are you going to get transported? And sometimes it's what's happening with these lands that are selling these mobile home parks is people are literally abandoning the mobile homes. And then the landowners are having to deal with the disposal of them along with the boats and anything else that's left because they don't want to deal with it. It's too much. It's too expensive. So, again, another professional that you're dealing with is going to give you the options and tell you long term, here's your best option. This is what it could long term cost you. Is that worth it for you?
I have Cynthia here is asking, you have many land for sale on your website. Are they constructible like in Palm Bay?
Well, thank you for visiting my website. Palm Bay is up and down depending on where it's at. And unfortunately, the sad thing for you, when you're looking at the website, I don't know if that particular portion of the listing will be displayed, whether or not it is buildable or if it's just a standard piece of land. So if there's something that you like, Cynthia, just put a heart next to it, and I'll be able to tell you whether that is a buildable lot. But there are some fantastic prices right now in Palm Bay for land. And I'm telling you, God does not build land anymore. If you want just something that you can afford, and you're going to come down at some point, I would buy it. And if it's buildable, absolutely.
And mind you, there will always be people who want to move to Florida. They would be from Canada. They would be from Northeast United States, from South America. Everybody
matter
wants
where.
to be in Florida.
Everybody.
The market is always going to be hot. Always.
It is. It's a beautiful place to live. And Virginia, my market ran from September to November, and then it died because of Thanksgiving, Christmas, then January because of snow, and you couldn't get anywhere. And then it would come back in January, and it lived until about spring market's what they called our crazy time, and we'd have it until May, and then everybody would go on summer vacation. It would just drop dead. You couldn't even sell a house if you tried.
Yeah.
And so people from north assume that it's going to be the same here, that you're going to have a snowbird season. And again, who in the right mind would want to live in Florida in the summer? I mean, I had somebody say that to me today, and I was like, everybody, yeah, everybody wants to live in Florida in the summer.
It's sunny. You have the ocean.
On the coast. But the market never dies here. We don't really have any lag in time frames for selling houses. It is typically year round.
Yeah.
So if you want to see it as an investment, you're not 100% sure about the house in question, just buy it. I mean, just buy it. No, but I mean, if it makes sense financially, that's what I mean. If it makes sense financially, just do it. Just do it.
And again, a professional be able to run the numbers with you.
Yeah.
To say, you know, this is the history of this property. This is what it's gone up from. You know, we can see properties up to sort of kind of at the beginning of the 2000s inside the digital world. I mean, I can go to the county and research it further back than that. But, you know, I can kind of give you a history of a property all the way back to mid 2000s and tell you, you know, well, in 2010, they paid $74,000 for this property, and now it's $425. So you tell me, you know, like we look at stuff like that all the time. And then you look at the rents. My neighbor on the water, he paid $262,000 for his house in 2012. It's worth $675 now. I mean, there's two things that don't get made anymore, and that is waterfront property and land. You know, it is how it is. So, you know, if you want it, you should put a contract on it. Just like what was the song is if you should put a ring on it. It's the same thing, but it should be, you know, you got to put a contract on it.
So, stuff you need to know in the real estate in Florida is waterfront, water view, water side.
Very much.
It's all
and
different.
Pool.
And pool. And of course, in Florida, you don't have above ground pools. There's a reason
I've seen
for
them.
that.
I've seen them. You'll see anything, but I've seen them. In Florida.
Yeah, we have some too, but it's very
I wouldn't
rare.
do it.
Yeah.
So in Virginia, it cost almost $100,000 to build an in-ground pool. Okay, because it was just not a common product that people didn't use it all the time. You know, it was you open up. That was more of a pain, if you ask me, because I had a pool. It was more of a pain because you'd open it up in April and you have to close it by September, or you get a bunch of leaves in it and cost a fortune to open it, cost a fortune to close it. But here, you know, you talk about $35,000 to build a pool. Now, if you've had steps and lounging areas, add another 10. And if you want to encage it, which put the screen around it, add another 10.
Florida
So
room,
it's really not as expensive. And they do have 30-year financing on that as well.
And you use it year round.
Yeah.
I don't close mine ever. Now, I don't have a heater on mine. So unless I really want to be cold, I don't go in.
Yeah, I don't use mine.
Pretty to look at.
I don't use mine right now. It was 80 today, but the pool was not 80. So
I had a heated pool, solar heated pool in the last house I lived in here, and we swam year round because it was, you know, you just turn the solar power on, and you know, if you touch the jets coming out of it, it scalded your skin because it was so hot coming off that roof line. But it would keep your pool pretty warm, and it was beautiful.
Is there any other things that we need to be aware of as Canadian when we concerning real estate in Florida? Because there's a lot of difference.
I wish that was a simple question, Jeff. I really think it comes down to house specific, you know, house specific, area specific, property specific. You know, I think each place is different. I don't think you can go wrong. That would be my number one recommendation. I think that Florida welcomes people that want to live free and prosper. And, you know, we're all happy for you guys to come down here and live the dream.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Huh?
That is
Julie, est-ce que tu as des questions?
I don't have any questions. I was going to say something. I was going to make a statement saying that, you know, you need to hire a realtor. And I know in Quebec, they have something like, they have a lot of website where they can sell their house on their own.
For sale by owner.
This is not cool to do in the US. And we tried, we thought, oh my God, we're going to bring something from Canada and we're going to try that here. It's not it's not going to work. You have to go with a realtor, and someone that you trust and with experience, and never assume that something we do in Canada that we do it here. Remember that, because it cost me a warrant.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to say one thing that is probably different. I don't know how Canadian real estate does run because I haven't reviewed a contract there. But if you're a buyer and you're coming to Florida to buy a home, it is not going to cost you a penny to be hired to hire a realtor. Like if
Yeah.
you hire me, it is not going to cost you a penny. I mean, not a penny out of your pocket to hire me. The seller pays all fees when it comes to that. So make sure you hire somebody that you really like and they're going to represent you, because they will represent you. They're required by law to do so.
Yeah.
Tell me that's the question I wanted to ask you, because you remember 10 years ago, it was the thing, foreclosures.
Mm.
Do they still exist? I remember like they do, but like 10 years ago, you could get a condo at 50 grand with 2 beds, 2 baths,
I know. Yeah. I was here in 2014 going to Cocoa Beach, and I saw a condo on the ocean. It was $40,000. I was like,
No.
I'm going to sell some stock and buy that. And I didn't do it. And it's like $320,000 now. So I want to
Yeah.
shoot myself in the foot for sure. I mean, people ask me all the time, hey, Donna, what do you think this real estate's going to do? And I can honestly tell you, I was 22 years old when I got in real estate. And if I had known the answer to that question, I would not be sitting here with you, first of all. I would be retired owning some island in some place that you just can't even imagine, because we can't foresee what's going to happen in the real estate industry. I mean, you can have a pretty good idea, but you don't know for a fact. The things change all the time.
But what about specifically the foreclosure? They still exist. Like if you have the cash, you can find good deals. Right?
I would bet your bottom dollar right about now that it would be almost impossible to find one here in Florida. And if you did, it would be probably pretty wrecked. And the thing is, remember back in the day when foreclosures were a really big deal, the banks weren't that smart. Okay. So what the banks would do is they would unload them in their current state. So you would get a decent deal. So like, let's say the seller, upon the foreclosure, they owed $300,000. So they take 10% off that. You pay, $270 for the properties. Theoretically, that's kind of how that worked. But you would take on the damage. But then the banks got smart and they realized that there's value in these homes. Okay.
Yeah,
so they became what they called ghost foreclosures. And what I mean by that is that they sat hidden in the books of these banks for very long periods of time. And these banks would hire realtors and contractors, and they'd come in because sometimes it was just carpet. Sometimes it was a bathroom vanity. Sometimes it was.
So you mean
that
the bank, they seized the house because they were lending to everybody stupidly. So they were seizing the houses and they were flipping them, actually. That's what now that's what they do.
Yeah.
They flip them.
That's what a ghost foreclosure is called. And today it would be so rare for you to find one that a bank didn't have an agent go in and say, what is the value of this
The
property
market
today
value,
if I did da 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 da. And let me tell you, a bank's going to say, okay, well, they only owe $250. It's too bad they couldn't pay the mortgage anymore. Now I can sell it for $400.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
They're happy, actually.
Believe me, they're not going to give it to you.
But because of the scarcity of the market now, because when it's a buyer's market, it's probably different. But now it's not a buyer's market, really.
Correct.
Right?
Ghost foreclosures came back into play in 2010. I started seeing a lot of them. We had a lot of short sales in that market. I'm what they call a certified distressed property agent. So I can go in and look at foreclosure prevention, certified, distressed properties, and tell you what I think future value ARV may be on that property. So you can do that for sure. I did see one short sale in Vero Beach. They're asking $600. It's on a wide piece of water. It's a good deal, actually. But I think the only reason that's on the market is because those people literally mortgaged that house because they only paid $2 something for it. So they must have mortgaged it just to death. And now they can't afford it. So that property, actually, I thought was a pretty good deal at $600K, and it's a short sale. So if you're not looking for a house tomorrow and you're willing to wait a year,
So
They can
short
offer.
sales, for those of us who are not familiar with that, you need to have the amount in cash.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No.
Oh,
A short
okay.
sale.
Educate me.
Okay, so a short sale is where you're buying a property that the seller owed more on it than it
Yeah.
was worth. Okay. And that is in the eyes of the beholder. So what banks are doing is they're having realtors go out and doing something called a broker's price opinion, meaning they're hiring me as a broker to go out and say, okay, well, this is what I think this house is worth. I'm not an appraiser. I mean, I have a
But
pretty
you're a
good idea
professional.
about
Yeah.
market, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not an appraiser. So they'll hire me. I'll come back and say, okay, well, this house is worth $600,000. Well, let's say those people owe 700. That's what you call a short sale. So a buyer, such as you guys, would go in and
Mhm.
write a contract with the 600, 580, whatever your offer price would be. And then the bank will go and say, okay, was it worth it for me to sell it at this price range? So it goes contingent on the bank approving the purchase of the property. So you don't really have anything that flips in, like your home inspection contingency doesn't go into play. You want to put an earnest money deposit down on it, but nothing like your settlement timeframes, nothing goes into play until the bank writes you a letter and says, we agreed to the sales price and you're moving forward. It is actually an amazing, if you could find them, it's an amazing way to get your foot in the door here, but it's so rare.
Yeah.
It really is
So,
rare.
so the thing, what you should do, buy a place, be there for a few months, and then on the few months that you're there, shop and try to find this kind of if you're looking for deals, because I see a lot of people that we talk to, and Julie can tell us, we see all these TV shows about flipping houses and stuff like that.
Well,
Well, in this market, it can be tougher.
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you wouldn't do it now in a seller's market.
So
No.
Julie, I'm sure you've watched HGTV and they send buyers out and the realtor shows them 3 houses and they say, okay, which one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
If
that's
that
the States,
happened,
but-
my job would be so easy. I mean, like literally, I want to take you guys shopping. Let's go look at one house. Let's
Yeah,
look at a
3.
second one.
and then you
just
have
tell
the
me
big.
which
yeah.
one do you want? Which one do you want? You're like, you got 3 choices. One that's really too much that you can afford, one that's super bad off that you need to fix up, and one that's right in your price range. Which one would be the one you pick? Real estate is maybe back in the day. So my husband was a house flipper back in the day before I met him. Okay. And he did it in Northern Virginia. And he's a builder too. So he's a Class A builder, highly skilled, knows what he's doing, knows how to price things out. And he would go in back in 2008 when the market was just crashed. And he'd say, well, we had a 10-day inspection period. So I only had to do my numbers in that 10 days. And see, he still thinks that way. So he comes to me and he says, Donna, write me an offer on this deal. Give me a 10-day inspection because I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick it apart and see what I need to do to fix it. It's going to make me money. And I laugh at him and I say to Scott all the time, I don't know what world you're living on, but that is not happening. I mean, if you get a contingency, you're lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really lucky. There's no such thing right now. These TV shows are misleading at best.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
not at least not in this market now today.
Yeah, not in this
Makes no
market. Call
sense.
me in about 5, 6, 7 years and
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll talk about that.
Do you expect the interest rate to go up? I know they've been saying that since like 20 years, but do you expect them to go up in the next few months, years?
I have been doing real estate a long time. I was in where I learned mortgage industry very, very fluently in 2001. In fact, I was doing mortgage lending when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And historically, January, February tend to be the lowest interest rates of the year. I don't know why that is, but historically, if you look at the 10-year map, that's kind of how it works. And I can tell you for the last, 21 years now, right? They've been saying that the interest rate's going to go up.
Yeah.
They're going to go back. But I can tell you, I did a 3.5% interest rate on a refi last month, and I couldn't touch it for 4.125 today. So they are adjusting. But again, it's like the stock market. It could change tomorrow. I just don't know. I mean, I wish I could predict that. I think there's going to have to be some form of correction. You can't have a higher interest rate and a higher sales price at the same time. One of the two have to give. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I can assure you one's going to give. But, I don't know which one. And I don't know when. but one will. If the interest rates continue to correct, and they needed to correct, they've been low a long time. If they're going to correct, we've got 7% inflation right now. It's a little bit insane, so they're going to have to correct the housing price. Something's going to give.
Well,
To be honest, I mean, that's what I'd say.
All right. So, and listen, I know it's political, but we can expect to see a change in the midterms. So probably economy will stabilize a little bit more, because now
maybe next January we'll be looking at some sweet interest rates.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple months.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it, guys, for anybody that's listening, if you come to America, United States, and you get a mortgage, and you call me 6 months from now and you say, hey, Donna, what kind of rate can I get? This is the income I make here. I bought here. I got myself a cell phone bill. I got myself a credit card. I got some credit now. What is the interest rate? You don't really have to shop a mortgage. You just have to pick up the phone and call me. I can look at it for you, So it makes it a lot simpler that way. I can tell you a lot of my clients love that, because they can just, I was selling a house the other day, and they're like, so do I qualify? And a lot of lenders make you apply, to make sure that you qualify. And that's probably the easy thing to do for me. But, if you're going to call me and ask me a question like that, I'm happy to run the calculator. I'm happy to pull the rates for you. Everybody, it's the biggest purchase of most people's lives. Mm-hmm. And if I'm helping you feel more confident in what decision processes that you're making, it makes sense to me.
So what you're telling us, even if you don't have a credit history in the US, don't be discouraged.
No. Get yourself a US cell phone and get yourself a US credit card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
it can even be a secured credit card.
Plus, the way the real estate is, especially in Florida, it's easy for them to lend you money. Because if you don't pay, they're just going to seize it, and they're going to make money anyway that way.
Yes.
So in the United States, when you're dealing with clients that have terrible credit, and that happens a lot. So terrible credit, no credit's a little bit harder than terrible credit.
Yeah. Really?
Okay,
really?
But yeah, I know that doesn't make any sense, but it is true. Yeah. But I tell my clients all the time, go get a cell phone bill, get something that's reporting, or get something that you don't have bad history on. They actually have several bills that actually now will report for you. Yeah. And then a credit card, even if it's got to be secured. So let's say you say, okay, I want
500. Yeah.
Well, I don't suggest that. I don't really think that helps many people. The $500 secured credit card is kind of like a kindergartner trying to walk into high school. It just doesn't. It's not the same thing, Yeah. So your best bet is to at least have $1,000. I mean, I would say minimum. And do $1,000, hold it for 6 months, never spend more than $250 on it, or hold a balance more than $250 on it at any given point in time, and your credit will fly. And
oh, really?
And we can evaluate that monthly too. Yeah, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never hold more than 25% debt off of a credit card.
Because even if you don't have a visa, if you're a snowbird and you're only vacationing in Florida, you can open a bank account. So it means you can. It means you can open. You can ask for an American credit card, even not while you're doing all the process with us in Canada. So ask
you
for
might
your
as well go
credit
ahead
card
and
right
get
now.
yourself a U.S. bank account. There's absolutely. I mean, money is so digital today. Yeah. There is no reason not to. I mean, literally, you can transfer money between accounts. So put money in a U.S. bank account. Let it season and sit. And I mean, what's the harm or foul? I mean, nothing.
That's interesting. So you say we can build the credit within a year?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. We can guide you through it. I'm sure Julie knows this as well as I do. We can guide you through that very easily.
So yes, Cynthia's. Whoopsie.
She has a question.
Cynthia here is saying that I heard that some banks in Florida can check your credit here in Quebec, and that's true. That's what I said. Like you have Desjardins Bank, TD Bank, Royal Bank. Those three they can check your credit in Quebec. So, but the when you have an American credit is that you have a lot more choice. You can go Wells Fargo.
Yeah, but
anywhere,
again,
and
like
it's more-
you know what I was telling you is that we got the mortgage with
Wells
Royal Bank. No, Royal
yeah,
Bank.
and they moved to Wells Fargo, right?
They sold
bought-
that.
yeah, they
they
bought your
sold
credit.
our mortgage to Wells Fargo maybe like 3 months after, and then we were with Wells Fargo, and we're still with them. So I mean, it did not take that long to build that credit. You just we got a car, so we could we didn't have
That's a
the
big
best.
one.
Yeah, we didn't get the best interest rate for like in the beginning, but I mean,
You can
you're building
refinance really
something.
You build your
quickly.
credit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
It's the
thing,
same.
another thing, because a lot of snowbirds or people like us, but I'll say more me, I'm 54. And
Oh, really?
the bank, but the bank will lend you for 30 years, even if at my age.
Heck, a bank of what? Just my parents just bought a house. You know how old my dad is? He's
Yeah.
78. He just got a mortgage last April. I don't
For
know
30
how they're ever
years?
going to get repaid back, but
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do
That's interesting.
definitely.
I didn't know that.
I know
didn't
it doesn't make. I mean, the 30 years. You would think they'd be going, "Oh, you're 78, so maybe a 5-year loan."
Yeah.
But no, it's term just like any other real estate is.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's
not
really
life
interesting.
insurance. That's a different statement. I mean,
Yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, that's different.
you get life
Listen,
insurance at 78.
Donna, listen, what we can do, maybe we can meet in a few weeks from now. And
I love this.
I'll-
I'm happy.
I'll give you homework. Next
Yeah.
time you come, we'll talk about loans for the people that really wants to buy and live there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you can see programs and where should we go? Yeah.
My homework to you, Jeff, would be to tell me what kind of visas they hold, if any.
It's all
And-
kind.
All kinds.
It could be all kinds. And I have an
Yeah.
entire list of what I can do with those visas. So if somebody's interested in having a primary resident here in Florida, or even in the United States, does not have to be Florida. Remember that. Please get Jeff a list of what kind of visa you hold and what your intentions here are, as far as, are you going to work here? Are you just going to retire here? That kind of thing. And then I'll be able to have all that homework done and be able to tell you what your best options are.
Okay.
So you
yeah,
mean with certain visas, you can get some kind of financing, like different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
all right. Well,
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
All right.
Perfect.
So, listen, Donna, thank you very much. It was
My
really,
pleasure.
entertaining and educational.
Good.
All right. Hey, just a word in French. Merci, Donna. Merci, Julie.
Ça me fait plaisir.
Et merci tout le monde d'avoir été là. Thanks to everybody. And if you have question, even because a lot of people are going to see the video after today, we can, if we're not able to answer, Donna's always there. I gave you the link. Can I copy it back?
Donna.com.
Donna.com. Listen,
You won't ever forget it. I promise you.
I'll create a banner for you.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'll scroll it with all the bells and whistles. You got it.
There you go.
Yep. So yeah, go there and interesting things. You have lots of cool looking houses, and I love the area where you're in, and it's where I plan to move hopefully in the next within a year. I'm gonna be yeah.
Let's do it before it gets too expensive, Jeff. We'll find you financing. Don't stress about it.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Merci,
Everybody have a
merci, Julie.
fantastic evening.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.